When my daughter told me I couldn't attend the Christmas party at her husband's house because I didn't fit their in-laws' aesthetic, I stayed silent. But after she left, I called my bank manager. And by Christmas, all her online transactions were frozen. A true story from Billings, Montana. Betrayal had to be punished. Justice had to be restored. You won't believe what I did next. My name is Howard. I'm 65 years old, a retired accountant who managed local businesses for decades. Numbers never lie. People often do. This is my story. A true story of family betrayal and noble revenge. Snow hissed against my window screen. The streetlight made the yard glow like old film. I reheated stew, turned the TV low, and waited for the knock I already knew would hurt. When people ask why I did what I did, I start here. Generosity can become a leash if no one respects the hand holding it. I was tired of being tugged, thanked in public, mocked in private, then parked like an old truck when company came. The doorbell rang. 2 shadows on the frost glass. I took my time crossing the living room, the floorboards telling our family history under my feet. I opened the door to the last kindness I would give them that year. A warm house. "Dad," said daughter Amelia. Ambitious, image-obsessed, coat-perfect, smile-practiced. Beside her stood son-in-law Grant. Charming, status-minded, shoes too clean for real weather? "Come in," I said. They didn't? "Howard," Grant said lightly. "We just wanted to talk." "Talk, then," I said. "But from the porch or the heart?" Their eyes found the porch. "Dad," Amelia said, "we think it's best if you stay home tonight." I smiled quietly and let the words sit between us like fresh snow, clean and mean. "Best for who?" I asked. Grant lifted his hands. "It's not personal. It's just, the in-laws are particular. The table setting, the aesthetic, the whole vibe. You get it." I looked at the street. A neighbor's dog was busy digging something honest out of the cold. "I don't," I said. "Explain it to me like I'm paying for it." Amelia blinked. "You're being difficult." "I'm 65, I said. "It makes my hearing practical." She went for kindness, the expensive kind you can return if it doesn't fit. "Dad, we love you. It's just Grant's parents curated the evening. Fewer people. Cooler tones. Modern. You know how your coats are? Rustic." "My coat," I said, "kept you warm in college parking lots when your car heater died." "That was years ago," Amelia said. "We're adults now." Grant cleared his throat. "It's just optics." "Optics," I repeated, tasting the word the way dentists taste x-rays. "I helped you buy that house. I covered the down payment when the bank stared at your score and frowned. Those optics?" Grant smiled the way a man smiles at a bouncer he thinks he knows. "And we're grateful. We just don't want drama." "Then don't make any," I said. Amelia's eyes hardened. "Please, it's decided." I stepped aside. "Warm up a minute." "We can't," she said. "We're late." They turned. Their boots squeaked. The door stayed open long enough to let the cold in and my pride out. "Merry Christmas," I said to their backs. No answer. I closed the door and sat at the kitchen table, the one with the burn mark from a rookie's attempt at flambé, back when Amelia still laughed at my bad jokes. I opened the drawer I keep neat. Warranties, mortgage copies, transfers, the paper skeleton of a decade. My pen covered Amelia's last semester tuition when her scholarship hiccuped. My check bridged Grant's investment gap, a boutique coffee truck that never left the garage. Their wedding? I paid for the open bar and the open-hearted band. The house on Ponderosa Lane? I guaranteed the mortgage through our Howard Family Trust, a structure I chair, a quiet spine holding up kids who forgot what bones are for. I scrolled my phone. Their online purchases were a parade. Branded candles, a designer wreath, velvet dining chairs in wintry peat. The charges were tied to cards that lived beneath my umbrella. Authorized users, linked accounts, safety nets they never looked down to see. "Optics," I said to the empty room. I pictured the emails. "Dad, quick favor." "Dad, I'll pay you back next Friday."
"Dad, last time."
My printer hummed. I printed statements, transfers, screenshots where Amelia had posted, "So grateful." The comments loved her independence. My hand didn't shake. It's funny, betrayal can make you tremble or make you still. Tonight I was in a lake under ice. The phone vibrated. A calendar reminder. Call bank manager Ms. Ortiz. A habit whenever I had to reflect or adjust. I had not planned to adjust today. I picked up the phone anyway. "Dad, we just wanted the night to be smooth," Amelia had said. "Smooth like your credit report after I co-signed?" I'd replied, not out loud then, only in my mind, because I was still letting them keep their dignity. I've always tried to be fair. When granddaughter Maya, E10, sharp but distant texts, she asked for book money with a heart emoji. When grandson Caleb 8, kind and gentle calls, he wants me to come to his game. Neither child is the problem. Children learn what we teach. I looked at Maya's latest post, a table mock-up at Grant's parents' home. Black plates, tall candles, place cards like tiny white flags denying surrender. The caption, "Tonight's aesthetic, curated but not inclusive." Enough remembering. It was time to record. If you're listening now, stay with me. This isn't just my story. If it speaks to you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe so someone else can hear it. Tell me where you're listening, over morning coffee or late at night. Now, this is where my plan begins. I dialed Ms. Ortiz, the woman who saw me sign the hard papers. On our first meeting years ago, she shook my hand firmly and said, "You're a rare client. Mr. Howard, generous with guardrails." I liked that. I kept the guardrails low, assuming everyone could drive. She picked up. "Mr. Howard?" "Evening," I said. "I didn't expect your call," she said. "Is everything okay?" "It's Christmas," I said. "I need to review account controls on the trust and all authorized users." A pause. "Not nosy, just careful." "Of course. We can set permissions or freeze online access temporarily. Are you traveling?" "Not tonight," I said. I looked at my coat on the hook. "I just got told I don't match an aesthetic." "I'm sorry," she said softly. "It happens," I said. "I want to ensure our agreements reflect reality." "Understood," Ms. Ortiz said. "Send me the list you want under review." "I have it ready," I said. "And one more thing. I need alerts on any attempt to move funds." "Tonight?" "Tonight," I said, smiling quietly at last. The stew cooled. The house settled. I put on my old coat anyway and stepped onto the porch. The cold grabbed my face like an honest neighbor. Across the street, lights danced in Mrs. Keene's window. The retired teacher who always waved from her hedge and gave my grandkids cookies shaped like Montana. She waved now. "Merry Christmas, Howard." "Merry Christmas," I called back. My phone buzzed. A text from Amelia. "Dad, please don't make this a thing. We'll FaceTime later." I typed, "I won't make it a thing." I didn't hit send. Instead, memory did the talking. "Dad, can you spot us the HOA dues this quarter?" "Dad, the contractor needs half down to start the backsplash." "Dad, the school trip to Seattle is more than we thought." Always, "Dad," as if the word itself opened bank vaults. For years it did. Inside, I laid out folders on the table like a quiet jury. Tuition, mortgage, medical emergency, car, house remodel, small business, Christmas gifts. I labeled one more. Respect. The printer spat the last page. I stacked everything into a slim binder. Snow of facts pressed into a book. The text from Amelia blinked again. "We'll FaceTime later." I thought about what later had become in this family. The trash run no one took. The apology no one made. The check no one paid back. I deleted my draft and wrote, "Have a beautiful night." Then I added nothing. The doorbell rang again. I opened it to Grant. Alone this time. His smile was a winter light. "Just checking you're good," he said. "I'm excellent," I said. He peered past me. "What's all that paper?" "Memories," I said. "You should make some of your own." He shrugged. "See you next week?" "We'll see," I said, and closed the door, then sent Ms. Ortiz the list. The trust wasn't sentimental. It was specific. I retained administrative control until the benchmarks were met. The controls Ms. Ortiz set were clean and immediate. By Christmas, their online access was gone. "Mr. Howard," Ms. Ortiz said after receiving my email, "I have your list. I can suspend online access for accounts under the trust and remove authorized user privileges pending review. We can also flag any linked cards that draw from those lines." "Do it," I said. "Leave debit access on their personal accounts." "Well, I'm not starving children. I'm closing the candy store." "You know this will create friction," she said. "Friction polishes," I replied. She worked swiftly. I heard keyboard taps like steady rain. Confirming, Amelia's online access is suspended. Authorized user status on the house equity line is removed. Notifications are set to you for any attempted transfers. Grant? I asked. Same controls applied, Ms. Ortiz said. Thank you, I said. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Mr. Howard, she said. And good for you. When we hung up, the house was quieter than it had been in years. I poured fresh coffee and watched the steam climb, and I didn't feel cruel. I felt it was accurate. Accuracy is mercy when people are lost in their own mirrors. Outside, the wind shifted. Inside, my phone lit with a new email. Attempted online purchase declined. I didn't smile. I breathed. I put the binder into my satchel, added a flash drive with PDFs, and tucked in a copy of the trust agreement. I wasn't going to shout. I was going to read. The TV showed carolers in a town where everyone forgives by commercial break. Good for them. In Billings, we work for it. I set an alarm for the next morning. Caleb had a little game scheduled before lunch. I planned to be there. A grandfather shows up where it counts. Another email arrived. Online banking login failed. Multiple attempts. Then a text. Amelia again. Dad, are you having issues with the bank? Our app is acting weird. I typed, call the bank manager. She'll explain. I didn't hit send. Instead, I called neighbor Mr. Feldman, who's lent me his snowblower and his perspective for years. Howard, he said, you sound clear. I am. Are you going to the party? He asked. I wasn't invited, I said. He chuckled. Does that matter? Not as much as proof does. I ironed a plain shirt. I chose my oldest tie, the one Maya once called vintage, to make me feel current. I left the coat rustic. Let them curate me as I am. At midnight, I stepped onto the porch again. The town was still but listening. Snow fell like the truth, quietly, in little pieces that add up. Another notification blinked. Attempted transfer blocked. Then from Amelia, Dad, are you awake? We need to talk. I let the screen dim. Tomorrow will be louder. I closed the door. I turned out the light. I set my alarm, not for sleep, but for arrival. It was Christmas Day now. Tonight I would walk in uninvited, binder in hand, and let the truth do the decorating. Christmas morning, the storm had quieted, but my phone hadn't. 6 missed calls from Amelia, 3 from Grant, and 1 from Ms. Ortiz confirming every digital lock was in place. Their cards were frozen, their apps blinking red, their self-made empire suddenly breathless. At 8:14 a.m., Amelia finally got through. Dad, what's going on? None of our cards work. Grant's furious. I stirred my coffee slowly. Try cash, I said. This isn't funny. We have the caterers coming. We need those funds. I let the silence weigh the conversation. Maybe the aesthetic's too expensive, I said. Stop being petty. I smiled. Petty doesn't hire attorneys. She hung up. Steam curled from my mug as I looked out the frosted window. My reflection in the glass looked older but freer. I'd spent a lifetime being dependable, invisible, the steady pulse behind their noise. This time I let quiet do the talking. I walked out to the porch, snow creaking under my boots, and thought about all the Christmas mornings I'd spent fixing things. Bikes, wiring, mortgages, always patching, always giving. Today, I wasn't fixing anything. I was letting the truth freeze in place. A kind of justice that doesn't need words. When the frost cracked on my railing, I whispered, Lesson 1. Gratitude has a balance sheet, too. By noon, word was traveling. Amelia's posts, the carefully curated dinner setup, the designer menu, had vanished. In their place, a blank silence her followers noticed. Mrs. Keene waved from across the street, her expression soft. Is everything all right with your daughter? Depends who you ask, I said. The old woman tilted her head. Families, she murmured. They forget who taught them the meaning of holidays. At that same moment, a message came through from Grant. Howard, I need to meet. Now, I typed back, Ponderosa Lane, 6 p.m. He arrived early, coat half-buttoned, pride unbuttoned completely. His shoes sank into the snow like guilt trying to hide. You can't just cut us off like that. I didn't cut you off, I said. I adjusted access. Big difference? Do you know how this makes us look? Better question, I said. Do you know how it makes me feel? He rubbed his temples. We have guests coming tonight. Investors. Then you should explain how your bank cards are decorative. This is cruel, he hissed. No, I said, standing up. Cruelty is telling your father he doesn't match the aesthetic." He froze. His jaw worked, but no sound came. I walked him to the door and said, "Dinner's on me, technically." When he left, I watched his taillights stutter on the icy road, two small red eyes shrinking into the dark. For the first time in years, I didn't feel used. I felt understood, by myself. By evening, Amelia's house glowed like a movie set, every light blazing, the illusion intact. Cars filled the driveway. The smell of rosemary and guilt drifted through the air. I parked 2 houses down. The cold bit at my hands as I carried the satchel with my binder. 10 years of invisible generosity printed and organized. I took my time walking up, my boots pressing the snow into deliberate tracks. I wanted her to remember those prints later. I wasn't angry anymore. I was prepared. That's the difference between pain and power. One reacts, the other plans. Through the window, I saw Grant's parents, polished, proud, unaware of the financial scaffolding holding up their son's success. Amelia floated between rooms, rehearsing smiles. She looked like someone trying to host control itself. I waited until she picked up her phone and glanced out the window. Our eyes met through the glass, father and daughter, separated by pride and 2 inches of frost. I saw something flicker in her expression. Not guilt, not yet, fear. Inside, a jazz version of Silent Night played. People laughed the way people do when they're trying to sound expensive. The chandelier lights shimmered across polished wine glasses like tiny spotlights of vanity. I brushed the snow from my shoulders, straightened my coat and whispered, "Merry Christmas, Howard." Then I walked toward the door. The handle felt colder than the air. I turned it. When Grant opened it, his smile fractured instantly. "You can't just—" "I can," I said, stepping inside. "Merry Christmas." The room hushed. Forks paused. 100 curated candles flickered. I laid the binder on the table and said, "I brought receipts. Thought we'd review the aesthetic together." The room turned heavy. Conversations died mid-sentence. A single glass clinked, then nothing. Grant's mother, Mrs. Langford, said, "Oh, you must be Amelia's father." "I was," I said, calmly opening the binder. "Until about 12 hours ago." The first page glimmered under chandelier light. Tuition checks, wire transfers, mortgage approvals. The sound of paper flipping cut through the background music. Grant stepped forward, hand trembling. "This isn't the time." "It's precisely the time," I said. "Christmas, the season of giving. Let's remember who did the giving." A ripple spread through the crowd. Amelia's college friend whispered, "He paid for all that?" I turned the page. "Every dime, including that trip to Cabo. Business expense, remember?" Amelia's voice cracked. "Dad, stop. You're embarrassing us." I looked around the table. "I'm not embarrassing you. I'm introducing you." A few guests chuckled nervously, then realized I wasn't joking. "You posted about independence," I said softly. "Self-made, wasn't it?" "Well, you were self-made using my name." Gasps spread. Grant's shoulders sagged. "Howard, please." "Not Howard," I said. "Dad." The word landed like a verdict. The chandeliers above seemed to flicker as if even the light couldn't bear to watch what came next. Amelia burst into tears. Grant tried to salvage control. "This isn't fair. You blindsided us." 10 years of quiet funding, I said. "If anything, I've been too patient." Mrs. Langford turned on her son. "Grant, is this true?" His silence was the answer. His throat moved once, no sound. Around the table I saw faces shifting, curiosity, discomfort, admiration. Someone whispered, "He froze their accounts." Another murmured, "Good for him." Amelia's mascara bled into her trembling hands. "Dad, please, we can talk later." "You already did the talking," I said. "I'm just showing the subtitles." Grant lunged toward the binder. I stepped back. "Touch that, and I'll make sure every investor in this room sees the trust documents, too." He froze mid-step. Mrs. Langford lowered her eyes. "I raised a man, not a parasite," she muttered. I looked at the crowd, a mix of pity and awakening. "For years they used my name to look respectable," I said. "Tonight, I'm using theirs to remember why trust has conditions." I handed Grant the flash drive. "Every transfer, every loan. You can keep it like a family photo album of broken promises." When I turned to leave, applause started. Hesitant at first, then steady. It wasn't mockery. It was recognition, Mrs. Langford whispered as I passed. "You did right." Outside, the wind had softened. Snow drifted like forgiveness, trying to fall, but not yet ready to land. The drive home was quiet. My headlights painted tunnels of light through drifting snow. I replayed Amelia's voice in my mind, the word aesthetic, echoing like a curse against everything decent. The phone rang again. I didn't answer. Let them feel the silence the way I had. Cold, steady, unchanging. At a red light, I saw my reflection in the windshield. Not angry, just awake. This wasn't revenge, not yet. This was exposure, the moral prelude. Let me pause for a moment. If you've stayed with me this far, you feel this betrayal as I do. Would you forgive or fight back? Tell me in the comments. And while you're here, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who believes family should be unbreakable. What comes next will change everything. The real move would come tomorrow, when I'd meet with Ms. Ortiz again and shift every trust clause under my sole control. No more shared access. No more charity disguised as love. I passed the old church downtown, candles glowing in the stained glass. A choir rehearsed inside. The hymn bled faintly through the night. Peace on earth. Goodwill toward men. I whispered to the empty car. You taught me the price of fitting in. Now, I'll teach you the cost of cutting out. The light turned green. I drove on, calm, deliberate, already writing the next chapter of my own dignity. I didn't sleep much that night. The kind of silence that follows humiliation isn't peace. It's pause. The city of Billings lay quiet under a new layer of snow, the same white that blanketed the night my daughter erased me. At 7 sharp, I brewed coffee, dressed in the same shirt from yesterday, and checked my phone. 17 missed calls, 5 voicemails, 3 texts from Amelia, 1 from Grant, and 1 from Ms. Ortiz, confirming our morning appointment. Mr. Howard. Her message read, I'll have the documents ready for review. We can finalize control today. First Billings Bank, sun on glass, consequences in the lobby air. The lobby was warm, quiet. The kind of quiet that comes before consequences. Ms. Ortiz greeted me with her usual professionalism, her tone soft but purposeful. Morning, Mr. Howard. You look rested. Rested enough, I said. It's time to close the loop. We sat in her office. Oak desk, blinds half closed against the morning sun. She handed me a thick folder. Here's what we've prepared. The trust amendments, full revocation of family access, and reallocation of trustee authority. Meaning? Meaning from this point forward you're the only signatory. I nodded slowly, scanning the first page. My signature already appeared faintly in the watermark. A ghost of the man who once trusted too much. Ms. Ortiz leaned forward. You're doing the right thing. You gave them more than most parents ever would. Generosity isn't love, I said quietly. It's only love when it's respected. I signed each page carefully, the sound of the pen scratching across paper more satisfying than any applause. When we finished, Ms. Ortiz extended her hand. Control restored, she said. Outside, the cold hit my face again. I didn't smile. I simply breathed. By noon, the calls started again, louder, angrier. Grant first, you've destroyed us, he shouted through the phone. My business accounts are linked to the trust. Then maybe your business was never yours, I said. He tried to mask the desperation behind anger, but panic doesn't wear disguises well. We had deals pending. Clients are backing out. Sounds like poor planning, I said. You shouldn't have built your empire on borrowed pillars. He cursed, loudly, creatively. I let him. Words are free when everything else collapses. By 1 o'clock, Amelia called. Her voice trembled, not from rage this time, but fear. Dad, please, people are talking. Grant's losing investors. They're saying you humiliated us. I didn't humiliate you, I said. You did that when you priced your soul at market value. Dad, no, I said sharply. You told me I didn't fit your aesthetic. I'm making sure your bank account matches it. She went silent. I could hear a faint noise in the background. Crying. Maya and Caleb, children always pay the first emotional bill for their parents' greed. That sound pierced deeper than any insult. Take care of them, I said softly, and hung up. By afternoon, the story had spread farther than I expected. Billings is a small city dressed as a big one. News travels through coffee shops faster than espresso shots. At the grocery store, Mrs. Keene stopped me in the aisle. Howard, I saw the posts. Is it true you cut off your daughter's accounts? I just ended a long-term loan, I said. She chuckled, low and approving. About time. Near the checkouts, two younger women whispered. I heard one say, "That's the man who exposed his daughter at her own Christmas party." I smiled slightly. That's the man who paid for her Christmas parties for 10 years, I thought. As I stepped outside, a snowflake landed on my hand and melted instantly. The cold air felt cleansing. Not vengeful, just clear. That's when my phone buzzed again. A new message from Amelia. "Dad, please come to the house tonight. We need to talk." I stared at it for a long minute. The words "please" and "we" looked strange coming from her. For a moment, I almost deleted the text, but I didn't. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's timing. And timing, I decided, would be mine. When I pulled up to their house that evening, the driveway was empty except for Amelia's car. The wreath on the door hung crooked, half frozen, like everything else inside. She opened the door before I knocked. Her face was pale, eyes swollen, the proud mask gone. "Dad," she whispered, "please come in. Inside." The living room looked like a battlefield after the war. Wine glasses half full, gift paper crumpled on the floor, the tree lights still blinking as if they hadn't received the news. "Where's Grant?" I asked. "In the office," she said quietly. "He's making calls." "Calls won't fix this," I said. She sank onto the couch. "You were right, Dad, about everything. We were proud. We thought money meant independence." "It does," I said, "until you forget who earned it." Tears slid down her face. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted to fit in." I sat across from her. The clock ticked between us. Fitting in is expensive when you sell out the people who made you stand out. In the next room, Grant's voice echoed. Angry, desperate, pleading into the phone. "No, I can't access it." "The funds are gone." The words made the air heavier. "Dad," she said, her voice breaking, "can you please fix this?" I looked at her, and for a long moment saw the little girl who once fell asleep on my chest while I read her Christmas stories. Then I looked at the woman who erased me from one. "No," I said softly. "I can't fix what you broke." Grant stormed into the room then, eyes bloodshot, phone still in hand. "You've ruined me, Howard." I stood. "No, Grant, I stopped funding your ruin." He pointed at me. "You think this makes you righteous? You embarrassed us in front of everyone." "I gave you years to be decent," I said. "You gave me one Christmas to be disposable." He stepped closer, fists clenched. "You're a bitter old man." "Maybe," I said evenly. "But I'm an old man who learned how to read fine print." "Those accounts were family." He shouted. "So was I," I replied. He fell silent. The words landed like a closing door. Amelia stood up then, between us, voice shaking. "Stop it, both of you!" Her tears fell harder now. "Dad, I'm sorry." "I swear I am. Please just tell the bank to release it." "We'll make things right." I took a deep breath. For the first time that day, my anger softened. Not gone, but weary. "I didn't take your money," I said. "I took my peace back." She covered her face and sobbed. Grant sank into a chair, defeated. The house that once gleamed with ego now echoed with truth. I turned toward the door. You'll be okay," I said. Learning usually hurts. That night, I sat back at my own kitchen table, the same one that had carried 10 years of checks, receipts, and unspoken resentment. The snow outside had stopped. The moonlight spilled through the window, soft and silver, like forgiveness waiting its turn. I poured a cup of coffee and stared at the steam. The house was still. Peace, it seemed, came in the form of accountability. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Amelia. "Dad, I understand now. Please, let's talk tomorrow. I miss you." I didn't reply. Not yet. Forgiveness must arrive at the right temperature. I turned off the kitchen light and looked out at the quiet neighborhood, each house glowing with warmth and laughter. Mine glowed too, but differently. Not with noise. With meaning. Tomorrow I'd decide how mercy would look. Tonight, I let justice breathe. Outside, the first flakes began to fall again. Slow, deliberate, cleansing. And for the first time in a long time, I whispered to the darkness, "Merry Christmas to me." It was the morning after Christmas. I woke to a sound I hadn't heard in a long time. Gentle knocking. Not rushed, not angry, just hesitant. When I opened the door, Amelia stood there. No makeup, no jewelry. Her face looked younger somehow, stripped of pride. She clutched a folded blanket and a thermos. "I brought coffee," she said softly. The kind you like. The steam rising from the thermos drifted between us like fog between two old bridges. She waited for me to speak. I didn't. Silence, when earned, speaks louder than sermons. Finally, she whispered, "Dad, I came to say I'm sorry." I stepped aside. "Then come in." She crossed the threshold like a child returning to school after suspension. Nervous, humbled, searching for permission to belong again. She sat at the kitchen table, tracing the wood grain with trembling fingers. "I didn't come to ask for money," she said. "Just forgiveness." Her voice cracked on the last word. For the first time since Christmas Eve, I felt the ice around my chest begin to thaw. I poured 2 cups of coffee. Neither of us touched them. "Dad," she said quietly, "I don't even know why I said those words. About the party. About you not fitting in." "Yes, you do," I said gently. "You wanted to impress people who never cared about you." She nodded, tears rolling freely. "Grant kept saying everything had to look perfect. The house, the guests, the table. I thought if I said yes to him one more time, I could finally rest. But instead, I lost you." Her words landed heavy. I watched her. Not the woman, but the little girl who used to tug my hand at Christmas markets, begging for cocoa and carols. "You didn't lose me," I said. "You buried me under your pride." She sobbed harder. "I thought I was protecting our image, but I was erasing you." I leaned back. "People who erase their parents erase their own reflection. You just didn't see the mirror breaking yet," she nodded, trembling. "I see it now." The truth in her voice was fragile, the kind of truth only pain can teach. The doorbell rang again. When I opened it, Grant stood there, shoulders slumped, face gray. The man who once walked like a billboard for confidence now looked like a headline for regret. "Howard," he said quietly, "may I come in?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Shoes off," I said. "You're in my house now." He obeyed without a word. "Coffee?" He shook his head. "No, sir. Just a chance to say I was wrong." He looked me dead in the eyes. For the first time since I'd known him, his gaze didn't try to sell me something. "I used your kindness like currency," he said, "and I disrespected the man who gave me everything." "Everything?" I asked. "No, Grant, I gave you chances."
"You burned them for style," he nodded slowly.
"You're right." Amelia watched silently, her hands clasped together so tight they turned white. Grant's voice cracked. "I'm sorry for what I said, how I treated you, how I let her—" "Don't," I said sharply. "You didn't let her." "You let her," he swallowed hard. "Then I'll take the blame." I looked at him, really looked. And for the first time I saw not a man, but a boy who never learned what responsibility costs. "Sit down," I said. "Both of you—" They did. Moments later, small footsteps echoed down the hall. Maya appeared first, clutching her brother's hand. Caleb peeked out from behind her, holding a half-eaten cookie. "Grandpa?" she whispered. "Mom said you were mad at us." I smiled softly. "No, sweetheart. I'm mad at bad choices. Not children." Caleb ran to me, his small arms wrapped around my waist, clinging tight, the kind of hug that rebuilds worlds. Maya followed, her lip trembling. "We missed you at the party." I stroked her hair. "I missed me too." Behind them, Amelia broke again, sobbing openly. Grant turned away, shoulders shaking silently. I bent down, eye level with the children. "You know," I said, "sometimes grown-ups forget what's important. They think fancy plates matter more than honest hearts." Caleb nodded solemnly. "Mom cried a lot." "I know," I said. "Crying is how people clean their souls." Maya looked up. "Are you still mad?" I kissed her forehead. "No, baby. I'm just learning to forgive." Her smile, small, uncertain, was the most beautiful thing I'd seen in years. After the children went to the living room, the 3 of us sat in stillness. The clock ticked softly, the same rhythm as our shared regret. Finally I spoke. "Do you understand why I did what I did?" Amelia nodded. "To teach us." "No," I said. "To free myself. I gave so much I forgot how to breathe without giving." Grant's eyes filled with tears. "We thought you were punishing us." "I was," I said honestly. "But not for revenge. For awareness." They both lowered their heads. "Every dollar you touched came from sacrifice," I said. "Every comfort you flaunted was built by calloused hands." I wanted you to feel the cold floor I stood on to raise you up." Amelia reached for my hand but stopped midway. Afraid, ashamed. "Dad," she whispered, "can you ever forgive us?" I looked at her for a long moment. "Forgiveness isn't a word," I said. "It's a decision you earn by changing." She nodded, sobbing quietly again. The silence that followed was not empty. It was healing. The afternoon sun poured through the window. Golden, soft, forgiving in its own way. I stood up slowly and walked to the small wooden box on my counter, the one labeled Family Trust. Inside lay the new documents I'd signed with Ms. Ortiz. I took them out and placed them on the table. "I'm not giving you control back," I said firmly. "But I am giving you something better, another chance." They looked at me, stunned. "You'll start clean," I said. "No more lavish dinners. No more curated images. You'll work for what you own. You'll live within what you earn. But you'll have my blessing again." Amelia covered her mouth with her hands. Grant whispered, "We don't deserve that." "No one does," I said. "That's what makes forgiveness powerful." Tears blurred Amelia's vision as she whispered, "Thank you, Dad." I leaned in slightly. "Don't thank me. Honor me." Her head fell into her hands as she wept. Later, Ms. Ortiz's desk, First Billings Bank. Grant read the repayment schedule out loud, voice unsteady. He signed, then dated it. Amelia faced the camera on Ms. Ortiz's tablet. "My self-made posts were inaccurate," she said, initialing the acknowledgement. I watched the ink dry. Paper spoke for me. For the first time in years, I reached out and placed my palm gently on her shoulder. It trembled beneath my touch. Fragile, human, forgiven. That evening, after they left, I stood by the window again. The neighborhood glowed with quiet lights. Somewhere down the block, children laughed, dragging sleds through fresh snow. I imagined Maya and Caleb among them. The kettle whistled softly. I poured myself tea, not coffee, something calmer for the soul. I looked around my home. Modest, old, honest. Everything here had a story, every mark, a memory. And for the first time, I didn't wish for anything more. Outside, headlights passed. I caught a glimpse of Amelia's car slowing by the curb. She waved, then drove off. It wasn't goodbye this time. It was an acknowledgement. I took a deep breath, exhaling the last remnants of anger. This Christmas had broken me and rebuilt me, both as a father and as a man. When people ask what revenge feels like, I tell them this: it's quiet. It's justice. But forgiveness is peace. I raised my cup slightly toward the window. "To dignity," I whispered. "And to love that you learned the hard way. If you believe love, respect, and dignity are stronger than greed, pride, and betrayal, share this story. If it touched you or made you think about family, choices, or second chances, please like, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. I read every comment. Thank you for listening. Keep the blessing. Earn the rest," I said, and signed the page that freed my anger, not my accounts. Outside, snow began to fall again. Soft, endless, merciful. Only then did I forgive them.